Good evening, televiewers. Thanks for joining us on the 7 p.m. news on Info TV. First, our headlines. The 21st session of the National Commission for Basic Private Education has come to a close this August 18, 2026, with recommendations aimed at strengthening governance, regulation, and quality. Hospitals across Cameroon have been tasked to put new measures in place so as to ensure hepatitis C patients receive free treatment. This comes after the Public Health Ministry's declaration on July 20, 2026. In the WAFCON balance sheet, Cameroon conquered Africa, defeating first-time finalist Malawi on August 16, 2026 to win their first ever Women's Africa Cup of Nations title, alongside awards to the team's credit. Those were our headlines, and now the news in details. Welcome back. As back to school draws near, parents are feeling the weight on them, from books to uniforms and other didactic materials. They say the pressure is too much and the financial challenges are enormous. Mildred Fonge went out talking to some parents and compiled the following report for the news.
With the start of the 2026-2027 school year in few weeks, the atmosphere is both stressful and dynamic for some parents. From tuition to school fees and other school needs, guardians and parents affirm the weight is high. It's not easy for us because already with the pressure, we have nothing. We work but clients don't even pay us. We don't know how those children are going to manage to take taxis to school, so we are not really prepared for the start of the school year. If only the public authorities could understand some things, school would even be free. With inflation and rising school costs, the back-to-school season has become one of the most stressful periods of the year, as some wait for payday impatiently. Financially, it's not sorted yet because I'm just waiting for the end of the month, obviously around the 25th or the 26th, to go to the school and enroll the children. Those who don't feel the pressure say they had been preparing before now. No, I don't feel the pressure because I made arrangements in advance. I have savings and soon I will go and pay, so I'm very ready. As classrooms prepare to reopen, the message from parents is clear. Education remains a priority, but the financial pressure is high.
Still on our special back-to-school page, as the 2026-2027 school year is fast approaching, libraries and bookshops across Yaoundé already have the official books that have been mentioned in the book list. We went out finding out from the sellers what the business is looking like and if all the books are available. They say business is slow, yet their shelves are full. Find out in the following reports.
Different covers, but the same content. Textbooks on display in bookshops across Yaoundé may look different on the outside, but their material remains unchanged. As the new school year draws closer, most bookshops and libraries in the capital already have textbooks in stock with little or no changes to last year's official book list.
We have some changes in some books like French class 3 and literature class 4. The changes is only on the covers, not on the textbooks. The content remains the same. Textbooks are available in all areas, both the French and the English section. Everything is intact.
Official prices have been clearly marked on the books, leaving little room for retailers to inflate costs or take advantage of unsuspecting parents.
The official prices, they have been maintained, though some have been modified from, there's some what would be 1.2, we see now 1.250, 1.250 to 1.5. Yes, but since it's the price are being printed on the books, we don't really have challenges with customers, and it's still the same price as on the official list.
Parents, for their part, confirm that the required textbooks are readily available.
I'm here to come and buy the school books for my small children for class 3, class 2. We have all here. It is because of that I come here every year to come and buy the school books for my children.
But despite the books filling shelves, buyers are yet to flood shops, with sales remaining relatively slow.
We are ready, but for now, we are not seeing parents. The activities are still slow. We don't know what is happening as compared to last year.
With just few weeks to go before the 2026-2027 school year begins, the expected rush for textbooks is yet to pick up as parents continue to make their purchases at a rather cautious pace.
Still talking education, as the nation braces up for the pending release of the 2026 GCE results, a familiar wave of tension sweeps across the country. However, parents have been cautioned to be calm and exercise empathy during this period. In the following report done to us by Jude Kenji.
There has always been a tense atmosphere whenever the results of competitive entrance examinations or end-of-year examinations are to be released. Take the case of the 2026 session of the GCE. Results expected to be released anytime from now. How should parents and society behave during this period?
We're calling on the public that as results are to be published, be careful. Do not jeer and look down on those who've not made it through these results. Please accompany them as they pass through these difficult times.
People should not minimize or exclude those who have not made it.
L'échec fait mal de prime abord. Donc, il faut se mettre dans la peau de l'enfant.
First of all, it hurts. So you have to put yourself in the child's shoes and support him or her in this situation. That said, the causes generally determine how you take it and how you are going to react towards the child. Was the child serious when preparing for his exam, or did he spend his time playing? So depending on that, we will also adopt an attitude towards his or her failure.
Déjà, ce qui est de l'échec, c'est quelque chose qui peut arriver à tout le monde.
First of all, failure is something that can happen to anyone in life. No matter if you are a child like that, yes, it can happen to anyone in life. So I think that if a child has failed, no matter how he is, you have to try to go about it in a gentlest way possible, to try to be considerate of him and see the reasons why he failed and try to improve on that. Let's make good use of social media.
And we have candidates who are out there filled with anxiety, fear, some of them with lots of pressure from family and friends. We've already noticed violent memes, some of them actually calling not only for violence, but for exclusion of people who failed these exams. We've had people who've committed suicide. We promote values of responsible use of social media, but also values such as empathy.
According to parents, failure is not the end. So let's lift each other up and not tear each other down. For the release of the 2026 session of the GCE might come like a thief in the night.
The 21st session of the National Commission for Basic Private Education has come to an end this August 18, 2026 in Yaoundé, with recommendations aimed at strengthening governance, regulation and quality. This was in a ceremony chaired by the Minister of Basic Education, Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa. Rose Ovambe traces on that.
After 2 days of intensive workshop sessions focused on specific themes and concrete recommendations to strengthen governance and regulation in the sector, the 21st session of the National Commission for Basic Private Education at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex has ended on August 18, 2026 with a call for stronger quality standards and compliance in basic private education.
L'un des enseignements majeurs de cette session est que la qualité.
Our discussions have reinforced a fundamental conviction. Governance and regulation of basic private education should not be reduced to mere control mechanisms. They must reflect our commitment to shaping a younger generation that embodies values that we seek to promote. In other words, we must serve as role models for these young people. Regulations should be seen as genuine tools for improving the quality of education, promoting accountability among stakeholders, and protecting the best interests of our children. In line with the sector's educational, socio-economic and cultural realities, the closing ceremony featured the presentation of the workshop findings, the general report and participants' feedback before the closing address by Minister of Basic Education, Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa. He stressed that improving the quality of basic education requires the commitment and cooperation of all stakeholders.
Nos échanges auront permis de conforter une conviction essentielle, à savoir la gouvernance.
One of the key lessons from this session is that the quality of basic private education is a shared responsibility that requires constant collaboration and joint action. We cannot simply assess results without also looking at the methods used by different private schools. Compliance and adherence to standards must be a shared commitment across all institutions. It is through dialogue, trust, and shared responsibility that we can build more effective governance and strengthen the partnership between the state and private education stakeholders. Discussions also addressed the need to update the legal and regulatory framework to reflect current educational, technological, economic, and social realities. Staff professionalization, as well as stronger monitoring and support for schools, were also among the issues examined.
À cet égard, nous avons examiné la nécessité d'adapter.
In this regard, we examined the need to adapt existing legal and regulatory frameworks to changes in education and technology, as well as to the economic and social realities facing our education system. Regulations must therefore be fair, demanding, and enforceable, so as to ensure compliance with standards while taking into account realities on the ground, and ensuring that schools and families meet the standards expected of our education system.
Et des familles dignes de ce système éducatif.
Participants also commended the ministry's efforts and called for continued government support for private education promoters, particularly in improving their operating conditions. The minister responded positively, reaffirming that the government will continue to stand by its private sector partners and work to improve their operating conditions.
From our special education page, let's now talk health. Since the Ministry of Public Health declared free the treatment of hepatitis C on July 2026, hospitals across Cameroon have been urged to put in new measures to ensure that patients receive these free services. Mildred Fonge visited the Yaoundé General Hospital, finding out what is happening on ground. Her reports.
From July 20 to September 30, 2026, the Ministry of Public Health rolled out free treatment for hepatitis C nationwide. At the Yaoundé General Hospital, one of the main referral centers, the directive has meant reorganizing services to manage the growing number of patients.
Nous avons accueilli avec beaucoup de joie.
We welcomed this government measure with great joy and great satisfaction. It aims to make the treatment of viral hepatitis C free in Cameroon, and the General Hospital currently has the medicines that allow us to treat the patients suffering from hepatitis C free of charge.
Les malades qui souffrent d'hépatite virale C de façon gratuite.
Dr. Paul Tala made mention of the fact that though many cases are still under investigation, 5 confirmed patients are currently under treatment at this health facility as findings continue to identify those eligible for the treatment. Despite the treatment being free, rolling it out has come with real challenges, with the biggest pressure points coming from patients. First of all, you know that medication is only one part of the care for patients suffering from the viral hepatitis C. There are additional tests that have to be paid for by the patients. So some of these patients have difficulty getting their full checkups done due to finance. That is the main challenge we face, being able to complete the additional tests before starting the treatment. While the drugs are currently available and protocol is running at the Yaoundé General Hospital, the long-term success of this measure will depend on maintaining supply and expanding awareness. For many patients, these 12 weeks for treatment could mean the difference between living with the chronic illness and being cured.
And on to other news. Citizens in Cameroon have been advised to maintain their boundaries if they want to be respected and stay in peace with their neighbors. Vanilla Fodzao went out on the streets of Yaoundé, finding out from city dwellers what they would do if a neighbor or someone close to them had a situation and they had to intervene. Her report.
In today's society, individuals often find themselves in crisis with one another due to several reasons such as overstepping one's boundaries. According to citizens, if we must live in peace with one another, we must respect some of these boundaries.
In case in any situation, your neighbor is your first, is the first person to intervene in any situation. But giving your neighbor your life privacy is not so normal, because you should keep parts of your relation. You keep your relation straight.
Meanwhile, others note that interfering in the private affairs of others will only breed problems and might in turn lead to enmity. Well, let's just say that a lot of the time, it's not exactly great, you know. It's not exactly great, but generally we manage. That means things are going well. There might be times when things don't go so well between us, as you know, but most of the times, things go well. To others, it is important to be one another's keeper. If there is a problem in the house, when you shout, they are the first persons to act, to interact, before the immediate family arrives. Already, it is true we as Bantu people believe the community should unite. Once my neighbor cries out in their home, it is quite natural for me to jump at the first opportunity to intervene. Already, if it is a fight, perhaps with his wife, if we are there, it's perfectly normal for me to be able to restore calm. If there is a murder, we neighbors will be questioned. From this, it is therefore important that people get engaged only with what directly concerns them if they want to live in peace with others, as several persons advise.
The slow execution of public investment projects in Cameroon is raising concerns as billions are being injected into these developmental works. 2026 data from the African Development Bank indicates that the rate of execution is at 44%. Phillips Enchi reports.
Cameroon continues to face challenges in the execution of public investment projects. According to the 2026 data released by the African Development Bank, the physical implementation rate of public investment project stands at 44%, despite billions of francs CFA allocated for financing. The World Bank also raises concerns over delays and the high cost of project execution in the country. Projects initially expected to be completed within 4 to 5 years can now take up to 10 years, with some costing several times more than similar projects executed in other countries. The slow pace and rising cost of delivering infrastructure, despite the availability of financing, remain a major cause for concern.
Slow disbursement and bureaucratic delay or what we call bureaucracy or bureaucratic delay in the payment is actually highly a fundamental concern with Cameroon. Furthermore, weak government in debt management issue noted by poor tracking performance was also observed. It was also noted that inefficiency in project projection. This also accounted to poor planning, high turnover, and low capacity building in project management.
With several projects stagnant, often with funding cited as a major challenge, Cameroon has in recent years raised billions of francs CFA through financial institutions and state bonds to finance public investment.
Public security in Cameroon in the domains of sources of income and expenditure for Cameroon actually amounted to 8.65 trillion franc CFA, which was a debt for Cameroon. Cameroon, natural capital estimated by the African Development Bank as 130 trillion franc CFA, which value was also said to have increased for about 4.5% over the period of 25 years was also recorded.
Despite the country's financial potential, the persistent challenges in project financing and execution raises questions about the management of public resources. Economists are aware of the measures that could help address these difficulties and improve project delivery.
The use of digital tracking and regulatory auditing by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with the World Bank and African Development Bank to strengthen project implementation and monitoring in Cameroon is one of our recommendations.
With the growing concerns over project management, stronger monitoring and control of infrastructure projects, coupled with reforms in project governance, could help financial losses, improve efficiency, and accelerate development.
Let's now take you to Bikoka in Kwebe village, where the resident representative of Tv Cameroun, Manclot Abanda, and his family convened a Thanksgiving Mass. This Mass was celebrated by His Lordship Christophe Zoua and was attended by administrative, traditional, and religious heads. Jonas Mitukina.
Family members, administrative, religious, and traditional authorities, as well as friends and relatives, joined the Abanda family on August 18 in Koebe village, Bikok subdivision, for a Thanksgiving Mass to celebrate the completion of this house, which will serve as the family home for this family, headed by Amanclod Abanda, resident representative of Tv Cameroun and holder of the UNESCO chair for Central Africa. For him, this Thanksgiving Mass was not just an opportunity to praise the Almighty, but also to express his gratitude to all those who have supported him since his early childhood.
Je commence par remercier.
I would like to begin by thanking my grandmother, the woman you see in this picture. I have always felt that she was a protector, as I would see her in my dreams, but I never knew her. It was a truly wonderful experience for me when her son, Felix Abanda, celebrated the centenary of her birth. I kept this picture, which was part of the exhibition marking her centenary. I would also like to thank her husband, my grandfather, whose name I bear, Abanda Esomba Alois. It is to him that I dedicate this house.
C'est à lui que j'ai dédié cette maison.
After delivering his homely drone from Matthew chapter 19 verse 23 to 30, His Lordship Christophe Zoa, Bishop of the Diocese of St. Melima, explained the importance and purpose of a Thanksgiving Mass while calling on the Abanda family to continue giving thanks to the Lord at all times.
Alors l'action de grâce
Thanksgiving unfolds in two stages. First, it is about thanking God, expressing our gratitude to Him, and committing ourselves to a life of faithfulness to God. It also opens the way for other actions, as you have mentioned.
Comme vous l'avez évoqué.
The Mass was also a moment of joy and fellowship between the guests and the family. For Amankro Dabana's mother, seeing her son achieve such things is a great source of pride. It gives me a great sense of pride and joy to see that my work has truly come to fruitfulness. It took a great deal of effort to put him through school and educate him. Those present at the ceremony included Elise Mireya Bena Osege, wife of Noah, Divisional Officer of Bikok Subdivision, Judonem Veng, CEO of Group La Meteo, as well as other religious and traditional authorities. The celebration ended with a blessing for the entire family and the guests in attendance. A tribute was also paid to Usi Tamba, wife of Abanda, matriarch of the Abanda family.
And in politics, the CPDM section of the Upper Nyong Northeast 1 prepares for the 2027 legislative and municipal elections. A consultation meeting coupled with the launch of campaigns to intensify registration took place in Gelemiduka. Jude Kenji has more on that.
The imperative overwhelming victory of the CPDM in the legislative and municipal elections, prerequisites and action. This was the theme that framed the restitution meeting of the strategic seminar on intensifying preparations for the said elections held on August 15 in Galamunduka, Upper Nyong Division of the East Region. It was a matter for us to relay to the grassroots level for the recommendations of the seminar organized by the Regional Permanent Delegation of the Central Committee in view of preparation for the upcoming legislative and municipal elections. You know, during the presidential election, Galamunduka was the first in the region. It's therefore a matter for us to do everything to maintain this place of leaders. The meeting followed instructions given by the head of the Divisional Permanent Delegation of the CPDM in the Upper Nyong, who invited section presidents to go down to the field and canvass widely to ensure an overwhelming victory for the CPDM in the forthcoming electoral deadlines. To easily achieve this objective, a vast campaign to intensify voter registration on the electoral rolls has been launched. We are very optimistic because we saw party militants and officials very committed to supporting this operation that was launched by the party hierarchy as well, which is supported by our hierarchy at the level of our section. So we think that it is going to be a total success. After the reading of the correspondence from the head of the Divisional Permanent Delegation of the CPDM in the Upper Nyong and the presentation of the synthesis of the seminar held on August 3rd in Betua, exchanges with subsection president made it possible to truly lay groundwork for a future resounding victory. Elite took part in this meeting, foremost among whom was Professor Jean Bosco Etua, rector of the University of Ebolo, who called on militants to mobilize massively to make this voter registration campaign a true success. It has always been an impregnable stronghold of the CPDM, and we must consolidate this position. So I expect the population to, especially those who would like to register. I know they are numerous on the electoral list, that they come in large numbers. It should be noted that during the last presidential election, the CPDM section Upper Nyong North 1 in Galamunduka recorded a score of 98%. For the upcoming legislative and municipal elections, it is targeting 100%.
Let's now talk sports on the 7 p.m. news on Info TV. In the WAFCON balance sheet, Cameroon conquered first-time finalist Malawi on August 16, beating them 3-0 to win their first ever Africa Women's Cup of Nations title, alongside awards to the team's credit. Phillips Enchi gives us the review.
The 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations has come to a close, with Cameroon defeating first-time finalist Malawi on August 16, 2026 to win their first ever continental title. The victory marks Cameroon's fourth appearance in the Women's African Cup of Nations final, as the indomitable Lionesses finally grabbed the much-awaited trophy. The Scorchers of Malawi were among the tournament's biggest surprises. Making their debut, they reached the final and finished as the highest scoring team with 12 goals to their credit. Algeria, on its part, secured the third position after beating host nation Morocco 3-2 on penalties. The result also earned Algeria a place at the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. For Morocco, the tournament ended in disappointment. The Atlas Lionesses lost both their semi-finals and third places matches on penalties, finishing fourth without a medal. The Golden Boot was also a major milestone in the competition. Maringa Manga from Cameroon, Ines Konan from Cote d'Ivoire, Temwa Chiwanga and Zambia's Barbara Banda each secured 5 goals to their credit. Cameroon also claimed 2 individual award medals, with Monique Ngok named Best Player of the tournament and Michelle Biina Best Goalkeeper of the competition. The 2026 edition featured 16 teams, 34 matches, and 96 goals, with a total prize pool of $5.8 million. Cameroon returned home with $2 million as champions. Amongst them, 4 major teams in the competition also secured qualification for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup, notably Cameroon, Malawi, Algeria, and Morocco. After 4 final appearances, the indomitable Lionesses have finally conquered Africa, returning home with Cameroon's first ever Women African Cup of Nations title.
And that's where we draw the curtains on this edition of the 7 p.m. news on Info TV. Thanks for joining us, and stay connected to other programs on this channel. Good night.